You know, have you ever wondered how a massive company, think Apple, think Coca-Cola, makes those huge calls, like when to pour millions into a brand new product or when it's time to, well, pull the plug on an old favorite? That's exactly what we're going to break down today. We're talking about a classic but incredibly powerful strategic tool, the Boston Consulting Group Matrix. All right, so here's the game plan. First, we'll get right to the heart of the problem this matrix solves. Then we'll decode what makes it tick. After that, we'll meet the four, let's call them characters, in your product portfolio. We'll map out the strategy for each one, and then, to wrap things up, we'll look at where this simple grid might fall a little short. Okay, let's dive right in. We're starting with the big one, the core challenge that probably keeps a lot of CEOs and product managers staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m. Seriously, if your company sells more than one thing, you face this. So here it is. Your company has all these different products, but your resources, your money, your people, your time, they're finite, right? So the big question is, which products get the investment? Which ones do you just maintain? And which ones do you have to let go of? This is the portfolio puzzle. And believe me, the stakes are high. Make the right call, you could set up your company's future. But make the wrong one, and you're just burning cash. So where do you even start? Well, it turns out the answer might come from a framework that was created all the way back in the 1970s by the founder of the Boston Consulting Group, Bruce Henderson. What he came up with was this, just beautifully simple tool. It was designed to cut right through all the complexity and give you some real clarity on these tough decisions. And here's the real magic of it. It's so simple. It takes that huge, complicated portfolio puzzle we were just talking about and distills it down to just two things. That's it, two simple factors. And here they are. Factor 1, market growth rate. Basically, how hot is the market? Is it a booming, expanding space, or is it pretty much maxed out? Factor 2, relative market share. This is all about you. How strong are you in that market compared to your biggest competitor? Are you the leader or just one of the pack? Okay, so you take those two factors, right? Market growth and market share. You put them on a simple 2x2 grid, and boom, you've got the BCG Matrix. The whole idea is you can take every single one of your products and plot it on this grid. And just like that, you get this crystal clear picture of where each one stands, which is absolutely crucial for figuring out where your money and effort should go. All right, now this is where it really gets interesting. When you plot your products, they're going to fall into one of four boxes, or quadrants. And I think the best way to think about these is like they're four different characters or personalities that make up your company's portfolio. So first up, we have the question marks. These are your gambles, your wild cards. Imagine a brand new app in a market that's just exploding. The market growth is high, but you have a tiny market share. You're not the leader yet. These things just eat up cash and need a ton of investment. And all the while, you're asking yourself that one big question. Is this going to be our next big thing, our next star, or is it going to be a total flop? Next, you've got your stars. The stars. These are your champions, your current superstars. Your leader, maybe the leader, in a market that's growing like crazy. Now, they bring in a lot of cash for sure, but they also need a ton of investment to keep that growth going and to fight off all the competitors trying to take your spot. Make no mistake, these are the products that are building your company's future. And then, of course, we have the cash cows. These are the steady, reliable workhorses of your portfolio. You're the market leader, but the market itself isn't really growing anymore. It's mature. The great thing about these is they don't need a lot of investment. They just sit there and generate a ton of cash, day in and day out. And that cash, that's what you use to feed your stars and take a chance on your question marks. And finally, we have the dogs. Now, I know, the name sounds harsh, but these are the products that have a low market share in a market that isn't growing. A lot of the time, they're just breaking even. They're not really making you money, they're not growing, and honestly, they can just suck up time and resources that could be better spent somewhere else. Okay, so we've met the whole cast of characters, question marks, stars, cash cows, and dogs. Now for the most important part, what do you actually do with them? Let's talk strategy. With your stars, it's go time. The strategy is simple. Invest, invest, invest. You pour money in to fuel that growth and fiercely defend your top spot. From a procurement standpoint, this is critical. Your team's job is to be out there finding the absolute best, most innovative suppliers. You need partners who can help you stay ahead of the curve and keep that competitive advantage sharp. For your cash cows, the strategy shifts completely. Here, the name of the game is harvest. You want to squeeze out as much profit as possible while spending as little as you can get away with just to maintain your position. And for the procurement folks, their mission is laser-focused. Drive efficiency. Squeeze every penny out of the supply chain. Negotiate harder. Optimize everything. Because every dollar saved here is a dollar you can invest in your stars and question marks. Now, the question marks, this is where the really tough decisions happen. You have to look at them hard. Do they have what it takes to become a star? It's a fork in the road. If you believe in it, you go all in, invest heavily to grab that market share. If not, you have to be disciplined enough to cut your losses and get out. Procurement's role here is to find agile partners. You need suppliers who can be flexible and, most importantly, scale up super fast if you decide to hit the accelerator. And finally, the dogs. Look, the strategy here is usually pretty straightforward. It's time to exit. That means either selling them off or just phasing them out to stop the resource drain. The only real exception is if a dog serves some other strategic purpose. Maybe it helps you sell a star product. For procurement, the job is to manage this exit as painlessly as possible. That means consolidating suppliers, exiting contracts cleanly, and just tidying things up. Okay, let's make this feel a bit more real with an example. Think about a big retailer like Marks & Spencer in the UK. Their lingerie business, that's a classic star. They've led that market for ages. Their Simply Food convenience stores, that's a question mark. The market for convenience food is growing fast, but they're still fighting for a dominant position. The old reliable classic clothing line, total cash cow. And then a smaller niche line like their Autograph range, you could probably classify that as a dog. See, just by plotting these out, M&S gets a really clear, immediate picture of their strategic priorities. So the matrix is clearly a powerful way to think about your business. But, and this is a big but, it's not a silver bullet. It's really important to know its blind spots so you can use it the right way. Okay, so what are the downsides? Well, for starters, it's a snapshot. It tells you where things are today, but markets can change in the blink of an eye. Another thing, is high growth really the only thing that makes a market attractive? Not always. The matrix also kind of misses how products can work together. What if that dog product is actually the reason customers walk in the door to buy your star? And finally, it's built on the idea that having the biggest market share is always the goal, which just isn't true for a lot of super profitable niche companies. But look, even with those limitations, there's a reason we're still talking about this tool decades later. It works. It gives you a simple, visual way to start a really important conversation about strategy. I love the analogy that it's a compass, not a GPS. It's not going to give you turn-by-turn directions, but it will absolutely point you in the right general direction when it comes to planning for the future. So I'll leave you with this to think about. We live in this age of crazy fast disruption, of digital ecosystems where everything is connected. So is a framework that was designed to look at products one by one in isolation still the right tool for the job? Does it still hold the key to strategy in today's world? That's a question I think every business leader really needs to wrestle with.